Your one click on the subscribe button makes a huge difference. Thank you for your kind support.
The episode begins with a mix of emotions, setting the stage for the events that will unfold in Genoa City. At the heart of it all is Billy, whose actions serve as a catalyst for much of the tension that bubbles under the surface. Billy decides to take a bold, and arguably reckless, step in his ongoing saga, one that crosses a personal line in order to make his point loud and clear. His choice is emblematic of the inner conflict he's been wrestling with for some time, a battle between his desire to support the people he cares about and his tendency to act impulsively when pushed to his limits. Billy's dynamic with Phyllis highlights this duality, as Phyllis herself is a character who thrives in chaos, perpetually drawing others into the swirl of her struggles. Phyllis, as always, is a master manipulator, and this episode underscores just how adept she is at wearing down the people around her until they give in to her demands. Billy becomes her latest target. Although he tries to maintain his resolve, Phyllis leverages emotional blackmail, pointing out how Billy once saved her during one of her lowest moments. It's a pointed reminder of their complicated shared history, and puts Billy in an uncomfortable position. Yet, despite Phyllis's relentless persistence to involve herself in matters like Abbott Communications and Daniel's future, Billy tries to stand his ground. However, his attempts to resist are half-hearted, as he finds himself questioning whether there's truth to Phyllis's claims, that perhaps, despite her chaotic tendencies, she has a role to play in helping him and others achieve their goals. This interaction between Billy and Phyllis is a microcosm of their long-standing dynamic. Billy is someone who wants to believe in the best in others, and that often leads him to make concessions for people like Phyllis who feed on that kind of sympathy. Yet, this also brings up questions about the meaning of partnership and exploitation, as viewers are reminded of the delicate balance between helping someone out of genuine care versus being manipulated by their emotional baggage. As the conversation spirals into what can only be described as a futile exercise, Phyllis storms off, leaving Billy tied up in knots once again, mentally justifying her behavior while knowing deep down that her motives are inherently self-serving. Meanwhile, Nate and Damien's storyline introduces a completely different emotional tone to the episode. Their concern for Amy, who is navigating her health struggles, brings a sense of warmth and camaraderie despite the tension looming in the air. Amy, for her part, demonstrates resilience and an upbeat outlook that defies the precariousness of her situation. A particularly touching moment unfolds when Damien takes Amy on a sentimental trip around Genoa City, revisiting places that were once part of her life. This ride down memory lane offers insight into Amy's character, as she fondly recalls her past with a smile, sharing bits of her history with the people closest to her. Damien, through his actions, proves himself to be not just a supportive figure for Amy but also an anchor for those around him. By taking the time to walk Amy through her former life, he fosters a sense of connection and nostalgia at a time when Amy needs it most. Their visit to landmarks like the local diner and the park, before it was renamed in honor of Catherine Chancellor, showcases their shared sense of history and helps ground Amy in the town's fabric. She reflects on cherished moments, like where she used to get her hair done, and where she had her first tequila sunrise, almost as though reclaiming pieces of herself that have felt lost amidst her health challenges. As Damien and Amy bond, Nate provides a steadying presence in the background, quietly observant yet no less engaged. Together, the trio finds solace in these shared moments, creating a bubble of happiness that temporarily shields them from the reality of Amy's condition. However, the tension is palpable when Nate receives a call from Dr. Kelly with an update on Amy's treatment. The ominous tone of that phone call leaves viewers on edge, as it's clear that whatever news awaits them will be pivotal not just for Amy's future but also for the relationships between these characters. The third major thread in this episode revolves around Holden and Audra, whose dynamic provides a mix of intrigue and playful tension. Holden, ever the calculated strategist, keeps Audra on her toes with his enigmatic behavior. Audra, in turn, is forced to balance her sharp instincts with the challenge of decoding Holden's true intentions. Their back-and-forth interactions inject a sense of unpredictability into the episode, leaving viewers second-guessing Holden's motives at every turn. Is he genuinely interested in helping Audra succeed, Or are his actions a carefully orchestrated power play designed to keep her in check? The ambiguity of their relationship adds layers to an already complex storyline. At one point, Holden's elusive demeanor makes Audra question her path, leaving her to wonder whether she can truly trust him, or if she's being led into a trap. This dynamic mirrors themes of ambition and manipulation that resonate throughout the episode, as characters grapple with the delicate balancing act of navigating their own desires while contending with the expectations and schemes of those around them. Audra's sharp wit and determination make her a formidable counter to Holden's cryptic nature, setting the stage for what promises to be an escalating game of wits between the two. As the episode weaves these storylines together, certain themes emerge prominently. The idea of emotional baggage and its impact on both individuals and their relationships comes to the forefront. From Billy's struggle to resist Phyllis's manipulative tactics to Amy's rekindled connection with her past and the undertones of tension in Audra and Holden's dynamic, the characters are all grappling with aspects of their lives that are shaped by their histories and relationships. The episode also examines the boundaries of support, how far one should go to help a friend, family member, or partner without losing oneself in the process. For Billy, the question becomes whether his sympathy for Phyllis is enabling destructive behavior rather than encouraging growth. For Nate and Damien, the love and care they show Amy reflect a more selfless form of support, rooted in compassion rather than obligation. The symbolism in the episode is subtle but effective. For instance, Amy's drive through Genoa City symbolizes her attempt to reconcile her present with her past, bridging the gap between who she once was and who she is now. The places she visits become mirrors of her journey, each location representing a piece of her identity that she's working to reclaim. Meanwhile, Phyllis's relentless pursuit of control and validation serves as a symbol of the chaos she creates, both around her and within herself. Her inability to step back and self-reflect becomes an obstacle not just for her but for those who care about her, especially Billy. Foreshadowing plays a role as well, particularly in Nate's phone call with Dr. Kelly, and the unresolved nature of Billy's confrontation with Phyllis. These moments hint at larger repercussions that will unfold in future episodes. Nate and Damien's concern for Amy suggests that her treatment plan may bring about unexpected challenges, while the unresolved tension between Billy and Phyllis leaves the door open for further conflict that could have far-reaching implications for their lives and the people connected to them. The ending of the episode ties these threads together in a way that leaves viewers with more questions than answers, signaling that the consequences of the characters' choices will ripple through the episodes to come. Billy's attempt to draw a line in the sand ultimately falters, as he remains enmeshed in Phyllis's web despite his best efforts to assert independence. His inability to fully extricate himself from her influence reflects a recurring theme in The Young and the Restless. The difficulty of breaking free from toxic dynamics, even when one recognizes the need to do so. For Amy, the update on her treatment marks a turning point that may redefine her relationships with Nate and Damien. The bond they've formed becomes both a source of strength and a reminder of the fragility of life, as they brace for what lies ahead. And in the case of Holden and Audra, the episode leaves their storyline tantalizingly open-ended, suggesting that their power struggle is far from over. In comparing this episode to other soap operas and dramas, it becomes clear that The Young and the Restless excels at weaving emotional complexity into its narrative. The layered relationships, moral dilemmas, and subtle symbolism set it apart, providing not just entertainment but also an exploration of human behavior. The parallels between Billy and Phyllis's codependency and similar dynamics in other shows highlight the universal nature of these themes, making them relatable to a wide audience. The significance of the episode's ending lies in its ambiguity. By leaving many of the key storylines unresolved, it captures the messiness of real life, where resolutions are rarely clean or immediate. The characters are left to wrestle with their choices, and the audience is invited to speculate on what comes next. This open-endedness is what keeps viewers coming back, as they become invested in the ongoing journeys of the characters and the ever-evolving drama of Genoa City.